Anybody's got any questions?
Let's go with Joe.
My question for you guys is, with all the positive critical response to Oceania, how does it individually, I guess, bring confidence to the unit moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's just, I mean, people ask me all the time, what's it like being the Pumpkins? What's it like playing all the old songs? And like for me, it's more rewarding now that I've actually participated in the writing process. It's more, it's become mine, you know? And I think as a unit, we feel all connected in that way as well, now that we've actually put out a record together. And I mean, it's almost like the next record will be the sophomore record of this incarnation, you know? So it feels really good.
You guys want to speak to that?
No, I think it is really nice that we kind of get to take authority finally of what we contributed to this project, just in so much as like, you know, I mean, before the album, like it was fun to play the old songs and stuff. It still is, but it is a completely different animal too, to have it be like the thing of not only are you up there playing, you know, and having people who are like, oh, that's cool. You're out there also going like, oh, these things you created, these things that you invested yourself in are like equally interesting to me, and that's really rewarding in a musician.
Only thing I'd add to that is, you know, for a couple years, even though we released, a song here and there, basically it was like, it was treated like Billy and, I mean, I read things like cardboard cutouts, rent a band. It was very offensive to me personally, because it assumes a couple things. One, that's what I want, which of course I've never wanted that. Where have I ever worked with those types of musicians? Secondarily, it insinuates that I'm willing to voice something on the public that is essentially inauthentic, which again, where have I ever done that? It's a convenient tale that was told because it was a good press angle. Making a really strong album has demonstrated why we went through that. In order to continue the Smashing Pumpkins as a musical thing, it's necessary that the musicians in the band be emotionally committed to the music. And this says nothing against them, but their personal possession of the old material is intrinsically intertwined with their possession of the new material. And because now they're a part of that. And for anybody who wants to kind of naysay that, well, there were lots of songs that James and Darcy stood on stage for. They didn't play on those records either. Maybe they were in the room during rehearsal, but those were all my guitar parts. The musical legacy of the band is more theoretical. And I think the continuity aspects of Oceania that people have picked up on says more about what the music is about. It's a personal vision that gets extended through the people I work with. And I've had just to spend years trying to explain the difference between what is mine and what is theirs. For years I had to hear that what was mine wasn't mine. Oceania actually proves what was mine, and you can hear the contribution that they make, not just on the record, but to just the energetic feeling of the band. This convenient idea that we're just sort of just whatever, riding off of something. I mean, if we were out doing the Melancholy tour, this place would be sold out. We're willing to put our feet in it and night in and night out, deal with the reality of the past, which is totally fine. We're all cool with it. We just played 3 old songs for you. Mm-hmm. But it's about, it only works if you can make the new music work in that context. And I think we've done something that's pretty rare. And I think most people can't even appreciate it in the moment, because it's so rare, it's almost unprecedented that a band could continue with different members under different names and actually create high-level music that's vital to the culture at this moment. So I think the long-ranging legacy of this is actually really important. And of course, we'll be judged on whether or not, just like the original band, we went to another level, to another level, to another level. What is the new version of the another level? No one can tell you. All we know is, if we played in front of a crowd like this 2 years ago, they give a shit about new songs. They'd be polite about it, but they give a shit. We felt that. And now, they give a shit. So, is it better to play in front of 10,000 people that don't give a shit, except about the past? Or is it better to play in front of 6,000 people that give a shit about all of it? So that's where we're at. That's a good question, and it opens up a bigger dialogue. Anybody else?
Doug.
The band hasn't been in Guitar World since like 2005, and I'm wondering what happened to that relationship, because I really need me some Jeff Shredder breaking down the pre-chorus to the Chimera.
Well, I'll take that question. I think the guitar magazines don't know what to do with the band like us. We don't fall in the obvious Pro Tool generation guitar player land. We don't fit conveniently in their let's talk about the past land. All I know is we're going out and killing it every night. I would say, I mean, heavy metal bands aside, which there's a lot of incredible heavy metal, but for alternative rock, we're tearing it up every night. And there's a lot of fans of Smashing Pumpkins, there's a lot of fans of the band's music, my playing, and we've just basically been completely underrepresented. There's not a guitar record in the world out there like Oceania. It's been completely ignored by the guitar brands.
Which I can't understand at all.
I can understand it because it doesn't fit in their fucking narrative. The music business is not built for bands to do something outside the narrative. It's just not. They have their business, it's totally fine. But we open that magazine, we open other magazines, and we laugh. We laugh.
Because you're seeing the same Metallica tablature that I'm seeing.
Hey, what can I say? I mean, I think it's pretty funny that they'll run old columns of mine that I wrote in the 90s, so they obviously still want something from me. And I ain't getting paid for that shit. Again, this is supposed to be about the past. Because 19 out of 20 bands out there in this position, it's about the past. It's not about the past and the present and the future, it's about the past. Trust me, if I wanted to do the let's break down melancholy, and my publicist would offer that, we'd probably get in there. And then they'd throw us a little bone, oh yeah, they got a new album out. Fuck off. We don't want anything to do with that. So we don't get that. And that's not just them, that's a lot of us stuff. But you see when it comes to future of music, tech, right? Lots of people want to talk to us. Because we're doing something that's just nobody's doing. So, again, whether that investment pays off and we can laugh 5 years from now, and they will be calling, because believe me, when they want you, they'll call. So, anybody else?
I think we have time for one more. Kevin, please.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for doing this. We appreciate it. You're got our
Thank you.
So it was a great performance. I had a conversation with you at a similar venue in 2008 about the domination of singles in this market. iTunes has done this to us as music fans. And you and I had a conversation where I said, I appreciate the statement that you as an artist, your band makes in an album format. And you said to me, very interestingly, that, hey, we're in our 40s. It's not that way anymore. So when you said Oceania was coming out, I was thrilled.
Right.
And it worked.
Right.
I think that statement works.
Right.
I think for Smashing Pumpkins music in particular,
Right.
it works. In an album statement, not in singles.
Right.
So I'm curious,
What changed?
what changed? I've got some ideas. I think I get it. I think you're bad Joe. There's no doubt about that. And I think you've made a great statement. But you took a risk. And
Yeah, at the risk of not answering your question, for us, because at that point, he and I were the only people in the band.
yeah,
The end of 2008, the 20th anniversary
Yeah.
tour, that was it.
I know.
That
Yeah.
was it. All we said was 20th anniversary tour.
Yeah.
And that audience,
Mm-hmm.
and we played here, I think 4 or 5 shows, that audience showed up greatest hits. We didn't advertise greatest hits, I didn't do interviews saying greatest hits, that audience showed up greatest hits. We played 48 different songs over 2 nights, the ones that we did the twin shows at.
Mm-hmm.
Best reviews I ever got in New York. Best reviews I ever got in LA. Condemned in my hometown. 48 fucking songs.
Yeah.
And I think over the 2 nights, I think we played 17 or 18 singles. And people were walking out of there pissed off. So imagine, if you put yourself in our position, we're like, what the fuck you want us to do?
Yeah.
It's music. It's not donuts. You know, we're not making the Krispy Kreme glaze here. This is fucking music. I grew up in a musical family. My father taught me the value of music. If if you understood the value of music, then you understood the value of everything else in proportionality to music. It would be like if you grew up and your dad was a scientist. You wouldn't go for junk science, you'd say, well, you know, you believe in quantitative theory. Well, I believe in qualitative musical theory. They can tell you, most of our conversations have to do with the quality of what we do. Even when we play a song that should be a gimme, right? And there's songs that we've taken out because it's just not quality. It's not quality for the audience, it's not quality for us. Okay. So when we hit that demarcation point, that was it. That was it. Because it exposed the mythology, which is nothing will work. Meaning nothing we do will work. It's like if somebody says, hey, I'll go out on a date with you, stand on your head and you light yourself on fire. Okay? That's essentially the position we were in. Either play the old songs the way we wanted played, or get the fuck out.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I mean, don't you think, you did say fuck. Like, we're musicians, we're artists. That's not what we do. You're not out there
But
being
it's more,
monkeys
but
playing
it's
songs.
more, but
It's crazy.
just to extend the question, it's more complex than that. Because it's not as simple as, let's just go make a good record. What is a good Smashing Pumpkins record in 2012? One thing you have to accept is, it's like, if people go to Disneyland, they expect a certain type of experience. If they go to, you know, Denny's, they expect, it's an emerging consciousness which I've had to understand. It's very hard for people if they see your brand in a particular way to change their mind. So the general branding of Smashing Pumpkins in 2008, going to 2009, was Rat in the Cage, kind of somewhat edgy alternative rock, but on the poppier side. They didn't want to hear Ruby, they didn't want to hear Silverfuck, they didn't want any of that shit. They didn't want any of the fucking art crap. They wanted fucking just straight up the middle. Tonight, Bullet with Butterfly Wings, today. And if we just played those sets and gotten off in an hour 15, we would have got great reviews and everybody would have patted us on the head and it would mean fucking jack shit nothing.
And they're not an artist. I mean, they're not
No, I understand, but the point is if over here is just ass kissing the audience, and over here is I'm an artist, neither works. Neither works. You can play artist when you're 22. You know what I mean? But at 45, when you have a brand, and you put that name over that, what does that mean? So ultimately, with the experiences that he and I particularly went through, we realized that ultimately what the brand of Smashing Pumpkins represents is not a musical signature, it's an emotional signature. And as long as we tap into that emotional signature, we're fine. That's it. That's it. So that, in essence, answers the question. So Oceania tapped into the emotional signature of the band, and in that, nobody can follow us. There's no band on the planet right now that can tap into that emotional signature. And the fact that most people assumed I couldn't do it with other people really, again, betrays the idea of what I did do. I've never denied that the original band members helped me create that emotional signature. But I was the author of the emotional signature. At the end of the day, I still had to sit in my bedroom where they were out doing whatever the fuck they were doing and write those songs. Right? And so when I saw generationally people trying to take that away from me, it pissed me off. But the kiddie thing to do is you go into artists. It doesn't work. Nobody gives a fuck about your precocious death trip. Been there. Did it. Didn't get good reviews. Didn't work. The Pumpkins is about power, emotional power. Lined up correctly, the hits come, the vibe comes, the concert comes. We're not doing the business we want to do, but we're fucking blowing people out of place. In a way that we haven't, or I haven't blown people out of place in a long time. And that's it. That is the business right now. So if we build, let's call it the Grateful Dead model, where it's just about, I want to go to the Pumpkins because I want to feel that thing, we're fine with that. Because as long as the audience is engaged and we're engaged, that's music. That's what I was taught. But I had to go through this whole process to understand, because every motherfucker will sit there and tell you that's not what it is. And he was in those meetings too. They'll sit there and say, oh, you guys got to play more hits. We got to play more hits. Fucking suck. It would suck. People aren't standing there for fucking hit songs. They default to hit songs if they don't like the show. That's it. It's that simple. Once we figure that out, easy peasy. Back. Boom. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Billy. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Jeff.
Here's Harry. Follow William down because the quicker you guys are down, the quicker we can do doors.
Please stay.